Korach gained so many supporters? What caused Korach to revolt against the Moses and Aaron regime? Korach appears to have been well regarded. He was a Levite, enjoyed many of the privileges associated with that status, and seems to have accumulated considerable wealth. What exactly was bothering him? When Korach assembles his posse to confront Moses and Aaron, he has a substantial group of 250 people. Then 14,700 more are killed by God's plague. How did Korach recruit such a gigantic contingent? You don't gain 15,000 followers by founding the Israelite Desert Softball League, the IDSL. The Talmud addresses the issue of Korach's complaint against Moses by returning to the previous chapter of the biblical text, where Moses revealed to the nation the precept of tzitzit, the 4 fringes men would hereafter need to attach to any 4-cornered garment. Of the fringes, one string would be a specially produced blue color called techelet. The Talmud says Korach mocked the precept and arrived in front of Moses in a completely blue garment and asked if he needed the fringes. And when Moses affirmed that he did, he called him a false prophet and Aaron unfit for the high priesthood. Could indignation over the laws of tzitzit really recruit more than 15,000 supporters? 2 of those supporters were Datan and Aviram. According to Rashi, they were the ones who caused Moses to flee Egypt many years earlier. They were from the tribe of Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, who was never given the honor associated with being first. Finding tribespeople from Reuben hostile to Aaron and Moses couldn't have been that difficult. Additionally, Korach may have attracted many firstborn males who believed the priesthood rightfully belonged to them and had been transferred through nepotism to Aaron. Though it's clear they would be thrilled with the removal of Moses, who refers to them as evil people, they don't seem to have any other identifiable goals. It's understandable that Moses and Aaron were vulnerable in the wake of the news that the entire generation was consigned to die in the desert. Morale must have been pitifully low. And it goes without saying that there must have been finger-pointing in the direction of the leadership for failure to deliver on the commitment of entering the Promised Land. But nowhere in Korach's statements is this indicated. When God addresses Moses in chapter 16, verse 24, he tells him to instruct everyone to distance themselves from Korach's Mishkan. This is interesting and overlooked. The text strongly suggests that Korach had his own tabernacle. It's mentioned again, 3 verses later. The references are striking. Korach appears to have possessed some form of independent religious establishment. How can we find out what it was and why Korach established it? Is this history's first, of many to come, breakaway synagogues? If we look carefully, textual hints might answer all of our questions. When Korach approaches Moses at the beginning of the chapter, he says to him, "You have much, and everyone is holy." 2 things are occurring here. First, Korach appears to accuse Moses and Aaron of taking too much authority for themselves. Embedded within the accusation may also be a charge of benefiting financially from the priestly system that had been established. Second, Korach is saying everyone is holy. There might be something to his point in that the biblical belief is that God created man to be a tselem Elohim, meaning created in the image of God. If Korach is saying everyone is holy, by implication, someone wasn't considered holy, and this is his point of contention. Is there anyone in the text who wasn't considered holy? Indeed there is. When plotting a coup d'etat, it's best to act when people are disturbed as a result of a tragic event. It's hard to believe tzitzit was that critical issue and moment for which the revolutionaries were waiting. However, the biblical text might contain some other overlooked details, and it involves the same biblical tool, the smichut parshiot, the linking of passages. Just before the verses about tzitzit, something very significant happened in the Israelite camp. A man who was gathering sticks on the Sabbath was condemned to capital punishment, which was enacted in public, and everyone was supposed to attend as a deterrent. Can one imagine watching a man be stoned to death? It must have been gruesome. It must have upset many people to watch this event, hear his agony, see his blood as he slowly died from the stones. If Korach had been looking for a catalyst, it's difficult to imagine a better one. Korach must have been ready and waiting to tell Moses, "Everyone is holy, Moses. Even the stick gatherer was created in the image of God." Could it be the tabernacle Korach built was promoting this message? Did watching someone get stoned cause a spiritual rift in the Israelite camp that was manipulated by Korach? An additional irony is that Korach accuses Moses of profiteering, but when the earth swallows his followers, it says he was the one with wealth. We never have any indication Moses accrued wealth. The only appearances of Datan and Aviram in the biblical text and tradition are associated with two killings. The first is over Moses killing the Egyptian taskmaster, and the second time appears after the killing of the stick-gatherer. It seems death disturbed them greatly, and in both cases, it was Moses who was the administrator of the killing, albeit one was impulsive and one judicial. Along with more than 15,000 notables, they attempt to remove Moses from his leadership position. In sum, Korach recruited thousands of followers by promoting a message of universal holiness amongst the Israelites. He appears to have viewed Aaron's position as both spiritually and materially powerful, making it an attractive target. He, Datan and Aviram, used the stick-gatherer's public killing, which was eschewed by many, who found it barbaric and repugnant. The killing was seen as antithetical to the message of holiness they were trying to advance, and this was their rallying cry and pretext for launching a full-scale revolt against the Moses-Aaron regime. But nowhere in the text is there even a hint that Moses abused his power, and even if the boat rocked repeatedly because of the intransigence and excitability of the nation, all that was issue-based. The ultimate proof may have been the golden calf itself. When Moses disappeared for 40 days, the nation fell apart without him. Whatever their complaints about Moses, they depended on him and loved him. Even Korach should have known that he could start a revolution, but finishing one successfully was not in the cards. Thanks for watching.